Areas that are important for food production are often the same places important for conserving watersheds and wildlife. The dominant model of land use in the 20th century is one based on segregating areas of agricultural production from areas managed for biodiversity conservation. Current trends, however, show that in much of the world, this model is no longer sustainable. Nearly 33% of the Earth's surface has been cleared for agricultural crops, with another 10 to 20% under extensive livestock grazing. Food supplies have grown remarkably over the past century through this expansion and increasing yields. But these increases have also caused profound ecological effects on the planet's landscapes. In the future, demand for agricultural products is expected to rise 50% over the next 2 decades. However, meeting demand for these products will be constrained by widespread degradation that is already either reducing supply or increasing costs of production. Therefore, ecosystem services that provide clean water, maintain healthy soils, sequester carbon into trees and grasses, and protect habitat for bees, bats, and other wild species we rely on to pollinate food crops need to be protected. A new approach for the 21st century called ecoagriculture has been developed to reconcile the seemingly conflicting needs for the conservation of natural resources with increased agricultural production and rural livelihoods.
Ecoagriculture landscapes is the word that we use to describe strategies for managing landscapes in ways that both increase agricultural productivity, production, and incomes for farmers and others in those communities, and also produce ecosystem services and habitat for biodiversity.
Ecoagriculture is a practice that allows crops to be grown and at the same time address the needs of the environment within the production system. For example, the need to conserve biodiversity, the need to preserve water quality, the need to maintain high productive soils, including the microbial elements of that soil environment.
Ecoagriculture is therefore both a conservation strategy and a rural development and food security strategy.
What distinguishes it from some other sustainable agriculture ideas is that it's really a focus on a landscape scale. So it's not just about what happens on an individual farm, but it's about the relationships of those farms to each other and those farms to protected areas and habitat corridors.
This landscape approach allows land managers to consider the whole mosaic of farmlands, conservation areas, and other land uses in an integrated way, and to understand and manage potential trade-offs and synergies.
We're never going to be able to preserve wilderness, to preserve species in isolation, because people have a driving need, they need to survive, and so they will use those resources in order to survive. And so the only way that we can conserve these resources and plants and animals is to find some way that they work in synergy with agriculture.
For the concept of ecoagriculture to take hold, the concept must be put into practice. To meet this challenge, 4 key ingredients need to come together. Examples of landscapes where these ingredients have been applied are cropping up around the world. First, farmers need to recognize themselves and be recognized by others as key stewards of the land, not only for farming, but also for other benefits such as wildlife and water quality. In the Hudson Valley of New York State, an innovative program at Hawthorne Valley Farm is being undertaken called the Farmscape Ecology Program. Run by biologists and funded by the farm, the program is aiming to understand the ways in which biodiversity can help farmers maximize productivity, as well as how sustainable farming practices can improve biodiversity. Second, multiple stakeholders such as farmer groups, development agencies, and conservation groups in a landscape need to work together in order to develop a shared understanding of challenges and a joint vision of how best to realize ecoagricultural synergies. An example of this is taking place in northwest Yunnan, China, where multiple stakeholders, including government agencies, conservation groups, and farmers, are working together to reforest agricultural lands with economically important tree species that also provide conservation benefits. Third, farmers need to implement actions that benefit ecosystems and biodiversity, while conservation actors need to manage habitats and watersheds in ways that benefit farmers. In Uganda, farmers are working together with conservation practitioners to protect one of the last intact wetlands in the area. Farmers have agreed to produce crops in ways that will keep the wetland intact, in exchange for funds that the conservation practitioners will raise by selling the benefits of clean water to downstream users. Fourth, markets need to be reshaped in order to provide financial incentives for farmers and others to manage agricultural production and ecosystem conservation within an eco-agriculture framework. In order to help reshape markets, both the Rainforest Alliance and the U.S. Department of Agriculture have launched initiatives to financially reward farmers that deliver products that also protect biodiversity and ecosystem services.
What we've seen with Rainforest Alliance and the practices that we actively support through the Rainforest Alliance, some sustainable agriculture standards, is that farms are required under these strict standards to increase the amount of trees that they have in a farming system, either within the crop or on marginal lands, around the crop, on stream courses and riparian zones. Farms that get certified to the standard also have to maintain existing natural ecosystems.
From the standpoint of the work that we do, we're interested in how we can get landowners engaged in these ecosystem markets. We're interested in how, by engaging these markets, we might actually be able to keep landowners economically viable in the United States, that we can keep farmers on the land, have them be able to actually make a decent living on the land and provide conservation at the same time.
While these projects are occurring, they're not being done on the scale needed to achieve global eco-agricultural synergies. For eco-agriculture to take hold at this scale, concerted institutional support will be required to provide the expertise, science, and networking required to make international agriculture a partner in conserving our natural resources. Ecoagriculture Partners, a non-governmental organization based in Washington, has begun this task in collaboration with innovators around the world.
One of the most powerful things that Ecoagriculture Partners has been doing over the last couple of years has been to find and to support innovators and leaders who are working in this field. There are thousands and thousands of them around the world, most of them working in situations where they don't feel very much support institutionally in what they do. And we try to provide that support, that technical support, and provide strategic networking for them, and support ecoagriculture working groups in particular countries, such as in Kenya and in Uganda. There are working groups also working in eco-agriculture in various places in the United States. And I feel that probably in terms of impact, that working with those folks and providing them with the kinds of support they need for the eco-agriculture landscape investments and initiatives that they're doing is probably the most powerful thing that we can be doing.
To learn more about eco-agriculture, please visit www.ecoagriculture.org.